most welcome to Historiespanerna, History Reconnaissance, and The Battle That Shook Vietnam, Huế 1968. The Battle of Huế was one of the fiercest and most pivotal clashes of the Vietnam War, fought between January 31st and March 2nd, 1968. It unfolded during the Tet Offensive, a coordinated nationwide assault launched by North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. What began as a surprise attack soon became a gruelling, months-long struggle for control of a historic city and a turning point in both military and psychological terms for the war itself. And please subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate if you would join us on our journey in history. In the pre-dawn hours of January 31st, 1968, North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong units struck Huế with overwhelming force. More than 10,000 communist troops infiltrated the city, rapidly overwhelming outposts and seizing large sections, including much of the citadel. Army of the Republic of Vietnam defenses crumbled in the initial hours, and U.S. advisory compound on the southern side was nearly surrounded. For the first time in the war, U.S. Marines found themselves fighting block by block in a dense urban environment, unlike the jungles and rice paddies they were accustomed to. Huế presented a new challenge: narrow streets, walled gardens, fortified stone structures, and the towering walls of the citadel. The battle's intensity was staggering. Marines described courtyard ambushes, machine gun nests behind every doorway, and the eerie silence before sudden bursts of fire. U.S. Naval Landing Craft Utility Number 1482 was assigned to naval support activity at Da Nang. The craft provided logistical support for the besieged city of Huế. They were escorted into the battle zone by naval river patrol boats and helicopter gunships. Despite the cover, the craft was attacked, hit by rockets and mortars and sunk. The Marines of the 1st and 5th Regiments, along with Arvin units, were tasked with retaking the southern half of the city. From the beginning, progress was agonizingly slow. American commanders initially underestimated the scale of the enemy presence, believing only a few hundred insurgents were inside. In reality, thousands of well-armed NVA regulars had dug in. The fighting was brutal. Marines described entering one building only to be met with machine gun fire from across the courtyard. Walls were blown open with explosives to avoid walking into deadly choke points. Casualties mounted quickly on both sides, and civilians were caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, in the northern half of the city, armed forces and U.S. advisors faced the daunting task of breaching the citadel. The fortress, surrounded by thick stone walls and a moat, had become the NVA's stronghold. For weeks, the defenders held out against repeated assaults, turning the battle into a grinding siege. As February wore on, U.S. commanders recognized the true scale of the battle. Reinforcements were brought in, and rules against heavy bombardments were gradually loosened. Artillery, naval gunfire, and airstrikes were unleashed on NVA strongpoints. The historic city began to crumble under the weight of the firepower. By mid-February, Marines had secured most of the southern half of Huế. The focus then shifted entirely to the citadel. Crossing the Hong River under enemy fire, Arvin and U.S. units began the bloody task of storming the fortress, inch by inch, wall by wall. For Hué's residents, the assault was catastrophic. Thousands were trapped in their homes, caught between communist forces and allied counterattacks. Food and medicine ran out, and nowhere felt safe. Worse still, during their occupation, communist forces executed thousands of civilians accused of supporting the South Vietnamese government. When the city was retaken, mass graves revealed the scale of the atrocities. More than 2,800 bodies, with thousands more missing. On February 24th, after nearly months of combat, army troops raised the South Vietnamese flag over the citadel. Small pockets of resistance continued for days, but organized communist defense had collapsed. By March 2nd, the battle was officially declared over. The cost of the Battle of Huế was staggering. More than 200 US Marines and soldiers were killed, or nearly 1,600 wounded. Army of the Republic of Vietnam casualties were even higher. Most Vietnamese and Viet Cong losses are estimated at more than 5,000 killed. Civilian casualties reached staggering levels, and the physical destruction of Huế was immense. Nearly half the city lay in ruins, including countless historic structures. For the people of Huế, recovery would take decades. Militarily, the communists were driven out of Huế. Strategically, however, the battle was a turning point. The sheer scale of the fighting and the shocking images broadcast worldwide shattered the American public's belief that the war was nearing victory.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.